You know, there's thousands of people outside in the stadium waiting for you. So when you're walking out there, you're kind of getting amped up and the adrenaline's kicking in.
Zeke Zaragoza, long snapper for the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Sometimes I have to step back and be like, wow, I'm here and this is real and I shouldn't be here.
Playing Division I football is an achievement for any young man, especially for one doctors didn't expect would even be able to throw a ball. The youngest of three boys, Zeke was 3 when his parents, Ed and Shannon, noticed something wasn't right.
He was walking down the hall and he started going sideways and he hit the wall. He just kept saying, why is the room moving? And if we were outside, why is the wind blowing me?
Then he started throwing up and shaking. His pediatrician sent him to the hospital, where Zeke would spend the next 2 weeks undergoing a battery of tests, including MRIs, CT scans, and a spinal tap. Still, they had no answers.
Then I started to get a little bit scared. If it was something simple, they'd have an answer right away. There's something wrong, and we're starting to see him get worse.
Within a few weeks, Zeke couldn't even walk, and his eyes were darting back and forth.
And he tells me, Dad, my eyes aren't working. And it's just, you know, that helpless feeling that you can't do anything for him.
Despite their fears, Shannon, who as a girl had seen her mother miraculously healed of cancer, trusted God, no matter the outcome.
I think just being ingrained in my mind that God does miracles and he can heal you, it just made me believe, okay, well, that's what we're praying for.
Neurologist Dr. Charles Neeson was brought in and consulted with over 20 specialists before diagnosing Zeke with a rare disorder that affects 1 in 10 million children.
Opsoclonus myoclonus syndrome. It's thought to be an autoimmune disease. Somehow the body is making antibodies against your eye muscles and nerve cells so that the nerves that control coordination in the back of the brain and the cerebellum aren't working so well.
There was fear in knowing, okay, he's got something, but then there was also hope in knowing, okay, now what's the treatment?
By now, Zeke had already been suffering from the condition for over 2 months, and something needed to be done quickly.
It could have affected not only his coordination, but his thinking as well, his learning and his memory. His speech was already being affected.
Dr. Neeson and a leading OMS specialist in Illinois offered them 2 treatment options.
If we treat him aggressive, this is our hope. We hope he can walk again. We really believe he will. But he's not going to be able to play a sport, throw a ball, ride a bike, do the normal kind of things that little boys do. And there could be side effects to it. Or we treat less aggressive, and he probably won't have a side effect, but he may be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life.
After much prayer and consideration, Ed and Shannon chose the aggressive option, hoping to give Zeke the best shot at long-term quality of life. Even then, there was a chance of relapse. For the first 2 years, Zeke endured a rigorous, painful treatment regimen that included twice-daily injections in his legs and monthly antibody infusions that sometimes lasted 15 hours.
I was the one that had to give him the shots every day. And you know, it was a struggle. I mean, he knew it was gonna hurt and, wishing you could take his place.
Progress soon followed as within months, Zeke had graduated from a wheelchair to a walker. Then more setbacks. He developed obsessive compulsive disorder and Tourette's syndrome related to OMS. Shannon and Ed turned to God to keep hope alive.
I was on the ground definitely because I was helpless, saying, okay, you love him more than I do. And that's hard to even fathom as a mom, but God does.
Then, after treatment and physical therapy, doctors declared 7-year-old Zeke to be in remission. By then, he was already testing and breaking the limits doctors thought he'd have.
If he wanted to try it, we let him try it. We got some pictures of him riding around up front here on his bicycle in a Spider-Man outfit. And we're amazed he's riding a bicycle.
And you can really stand on firm ground that this thing is really kind of literally left the premises.
As for Zeke,
I felt like a normal kid, like I do just about anything the other guys did.
And as he grew older and stronger, that included several sports. Then in 5th grade, he was ready for something a little more physical.
I really wanted to try football. And that's when my mom kind of was like, oh, I don't know.
Shannon called the OMS specialist, who put her on speakerphone for his colleagues to hear.
And I said, Zeke wants to play football, is that okay? And they're like, what, no way? And they were cheering, and they just couldn't believe it because he was considered a severe case. And so he said, absolutely.
Zeke went on to be a center and then long snapper in high school, where he decided he wanted to go to the next level.
I just kept pushing and had that one vision that I wanted to play college football, to share my story.
The dedication and the drive that he has, he's just so determined and humble at the same time.
After graduating in 2018, Zeke earned a spot as a long snapper for Oklahoma State, where he's studying to become a PE teacher and coach and sharing his story.
But it was for the grace of God, and he did a miracle on me.
To see him go on and be a successful student and play football was just totally unpredicted and unprecedented.
It is a miracle that he is where he is.
Never put limitations on God. He sees way in advance. We just follow along. We do what we're supposed to do, and he has the big picture at the end. And never doubt.